Not for free, not for money. Remain priceless. Money is the root to all evil. I'm sure you have heard and possibly may have even said that a few times yourself. It's a cliche saying that is passed back and forth between those of us who use money mindlessly, regarding of where it came from, where it's going, and what harm may have been caused by it during its travels between us. Oh, and never will we consider the money that we earn, hold, or use to be part of the category root to all evil. Our personal money has full immunity because we spend it on family, homes, cars, etc., therefore making it okay for us to dabble in the circulating and spreading of this item that we persecute when it is not used the way that we want it used. Man own money, or money own man. In my prior paragraph, I judge no one because I too am one of these money spenders. I use it to feed myself and family as well as to buy the things that I need and want. I find no joy in not having money, and I take much pleasure in having it. However, I must admit that I have never been one to say or even view money as the root of all evil. First, because I know that money is an inanimate object with no will or physical ability to do anything without the effort of a person. Money cannot function without man, but man can function without money. Therefore, money is not the root to all evil. Instead, the bad use of money by people is the root to all evil. This was my thought towards money until one day I discovered a more sensible truth that wasn't about money alone. It was about money and man. Money too powerful for man. At the age of approximately 47 years old, I realized something about the relationship between money and man, and it had absolutely nothing to do with roots, evil, devils, angels, or any kind of unseen force. What I realized was that money was absolutely no one except man was possibly too powerful for man to righteously wield. I will better clarify. Magical power of money. Money can give a powerless person the power to make a person who would never even consider doing a certain thing for him to do it just by paying him or her to do it. In fact, as a society, we all have been conditioned to do things for money that we normally would not do. It is genuinely acceptable, and sometimes it is even asked. Sometimes it isn't even asked. It is rather expected and demanded. This way is a part of each of our everyday lives that keeps us progressing as a society. The act of doing for money that which we normally would not do is what the majority of us call a job. And we are expected to do our job no matter what. Money is the instant steroid. Now, one of the things that this functioning way of money does is that it can give a person massive power to influence people who we could never influence without money. Money gives instant power that one may not be capable of wielding, as well as admiration that one should not rightfully have. Money operates like a magic wand, changing things to favor the desires of the one who uses it. And this leads me up to why I say, never do for pay what you won't do for free. When we allow money the power to make us do the things that we usually wouldn't, we quietly prostitute out our standards, reliability, and self-value while simultaneously building the ego of the one who paid us to betray ourselves. There is no amount of money worth what is lost within if we habitually allow ourselves to be regularly bought by whoever has enough money to buy us. We will eventually sell ourselves to the wrong person who may not provide refunds. Never work for money. Yes, this relates to our jobs and careers, and actually at a very crucial level. Much damage can be caused by us when we choose to work that we despise for a paycheck. The occupation that we choose should be a task or duty that we would happily do for free if required. When we choose to work a job that we dislike just for a paycheck, we can instantly taint the integrity of the service or product simply with our presence. Our performance will function at the lowest level that is acceptable enough only to remain employed. We most likely won't care for the company or presenting what it has to offer in the best way that we can. We will treat fellow employees, guests, customers, and even our superiors unfairly because deep down we don't want to be there, and we wouldn't be there if they weren't paying us. To function in this manner is bad for everyone, including ourselves. It can make us toxic and negatively affect our health, attitude, mindset, relationships, self-value, and integrity. Your new slave master. If we can be sure to always consider if we would ever do for free that which someone is about to pay us to do, we can assure not to gradually sell ourselves out piece by piece. My personal technique to keep me clear from ever becoming money's bitch or the bitch of a person who is holding their money over my head is as such. I pretend that the Almighty Creator God comes to me and says this, Jermaine, You're going to earn $100 million a year or only $20,000 a year for the rest of your life, regardless of what kind of work you choose to do. So what are you going to do? Overthrow your slave owner. I assure daily that whatever it is that I do, I'm doing under those standards. No one can pay me more to do something that I normally wouldn't do, and no one can pay me less to force me to stop doing that which I believe in doing. Don't be a slave to the dollar bill by jumping at its presence. Keep your personal values and integrity at a pay grade so high that no one can afford it, and money won't master you. Instead, you will master it. Very important chapter, which a lot of people will quickly turn their nose up to because, of materialism, wanting this, that, these things. We're taught that the person with money is the person to look up to. And right now, our society's being prostituted out. Our kids are, these influencers and, these, I'm not going to promote any of these stations or whatever, these networks, social networks where girls are going on there and selling themselves out. And you've got now where, an attractive woman can find some rich guy to give her his money just so she can go hang with him. But I caution that when we position ourselves or we're selling ourselves like that, the person that we're selling ourselves to knows that we have no integrity. They know that we can be used and abused, and that we will allow them to do that. So don't allow yourself to position yourself. Teach that to your children that, this stuff, you see all these, I call them sinfluencers, who are on here and they driving these nice cars and they, taking pictures of themselves, just selfieing themselves with all this stuff, and people envy them and want to be like them. You don't want to be like that, because the people who are paying them, they are abusing them behind closed doors. And they are accepting that abuse because they want that money, and when eventually that's what happens, they're just prostituting themselves out for that money. So don't ever tell yourself that it's okay to do something that you don't want to do as long as you're getting paid for it. And do not teach that to your kids either. That's a horrible way to go out, and it turns you into an item, and you become where you're not a person, because the person who is buying you, they know that you're a sellout. So don't be a sellout, and hopefully that chapter helps you with that.